Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to part 70 of Let's Play. Oh, apologies, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, part 70 of Let's Play SpellForce.
Corporal, need anything?
We're gonna talk to Yira and the rest of these fuckers because for some reason we're still on it. We still need to talk to these cunts. We have one life and we need to talk to these cunts. Fuck! Okay, let's get on with it.
Tell me a bit about your time on the road.
Is that a command, Corporal?
Never mind.
All right.
You never told me why you fled Finnanmere.
Fair enough. You've given me little reason to distrust you, so... Oh well. Let's just get this over with. I already told you about my father. How to him I had always been more of an asset. Well, after my father died, I decided to become a novice.
A novice?
Someone aspiring to be a priest of Elen. I don't know why I did it. It was something my father had always considered a backup plan if an arranged marriage wouldn't work out. Part of it was probably because obeying my father was all I knew at that time.
What does life as a priest of Elen look like?
Boring. Though not as boring as a Northander monk's life. You are free to have family and to indulge in the earthly pleasures. Still, your life is devoted to worship. And for a priest of Elen, that means healing the sick and preserving Elen's greatest gift, nature.
Was it difficult to receive the novitiate?
Not for me. First of all, I was a good candidate. I was still very young, not even in my 30s. And I already knew a great deal about magic and healing. Secondly, I was, after all, a pureblood. That helped as well.
But something happened.
Yes. In my first year, I fell in love. That crazy, hot-blooded, head-over-the-heels kind of love that the bards all sing about. The boy felt the same way, and for the next year it was, well, it was perfect. It was the two of us against the world. Maybe you know that feeling.
What was his name?
Doesn't matter.
And the priests didn't mind?
Priestesses. Only women are allowed to teach. And no, they didn't. Elves consider love to be a blessing of Elen. Forbidding it would be near absurd. I have no clue where your monks got that idea from. Though, of course, that boy and I tried to, restrain ourselves when the situation demanded it.
Huh. And I guess your romance didn't end well.
You guess right. But it was more than that. You know, I told you how I always felt estranged around other people. I knew how to put on a smile, how to make myself fit in, but it was always fake. Shallow. With him, it was different. Dramatic as it may sound, I thought I had finally found someone who understood me. Then there was the novitiate. Despite all the time I sunk into doing the crazy things lovers often do, I never failed as a student. Or, no, let's put it another way. I was the best, in every aspect.
Which didn't sit well with some people.
No. And eventually, they made sure I felt it. They excluded me from everything, stared at me when I walked by. It hurt, yes, but I convinced myself it didn't. I've always been good at that.
Did it take a toll on your relationship with that boy?
More than that. My lover's friends started manipulating him. Telling him that I only saw him as my pet, that he was a failure, and that I only kept him around to feel good about myself.
What? And he listened to them? That's pathetic.
Maybe. But he was young, same as I, and young people often do irrational things. You see, we novices all knew that only 4 out of 20 will be granted priesthood at the end of our training. And being a failed novice leaves you with a mark you'll keep for the rest of your life. It all looked peaceful on the surface, but beneath that it was an arena. And these other novices, they made sure my friend became aware of that fact. To him, I started being a rival as well. And do you want to know the biggest joke of it all? I didn't see it. The idea that, I don't know, that he would listen to them. That he would ever reach a point where he'd put what we had below his hurt pride and his fears. It never crossed my mind.
So what happened?
Well, he knew I was curious by nature, so... One night, when we were in bed together, he suddenly asked me if I wanted to go on an adventure. Of course I said yes. So we snuck out into the cloister's courtyard. It was beautiful. The night was cloudless, and the old oak, our cloister shrine, had just begun to bloom. We made our way to the library building, but of course the door was locked. Out of nowhere, he pulled a key, grinning at me, and opened it. It was insane. As you can imagine, priests aren't known for being lenient towards these kinds of trespassings. We were risking our novitiate, and I didn't even know the reason, but I liked it. And we were doing it together, weren't we? It was exciting. He took my hand and we went to the High Priestess's office. We opened the door and went inside, and there he finally told me what we were here for, to open the grimoire.
Grimoire?
The High Priestess's spellbook. It was a stupid idea. And if I hadn't been so blind, so bloody naive, I should have seen it by then. But I didn't.
What did he ask you to do?
To open it and try to read one of the spells. He teased me. Told me that I wouldn't be able to do it. You know, saying it like that. It sounds so bloody stupid, doesn't it? But again, I was too blind. I laughed. I wanted to impress him, so I gave him a kiss. Opened the page and started saying the words. Long story short, I lost control. The spell was too much for me to handle and it misfired. One moment I was staring at the pages, the next one, the library was aflame and my lover was gone.
I'm sorry.
Don't be. I was the one too stupid to see it coming.
How far did that fire spread?
Not far. It was put out before it could do real damage. But, of course, that was the end of novitiate. I was thrown into the cell of shame and sentenced to 12 years of polishing prayer banks and cleaning floors in the shrine.
Did you try to tell the priestesses the whole story?
No, I just sat there and smiled. Of course I did. But my love had all his friends to back him up. To them, it wasn't even a trial. It was a feast.
Your lover, did he regret it?
I think so. The only bloody gratification I ever got from this. But even if he would have confessed and begged me to take him back, I couldn't have. All that connection, that trust, it was gone. Worse, it was tainted.
But you never did polish those prayer banks, am I right?
No. In the night after the trial, they still let me sleep in my chamber. Thoughtlessness, I suppose, or maybe they simply didn't care. I got my things, left, and never came back. So, here it is, the whole truth. No dark secrets, no assassinations, no necromantic rituals. Just a plain old broken heart. Compared with all that shit you had to go through, it almost sounds ludicrous.
It doesn't. Being betrayed by someone you trust often hits the hardest.
Yeah, I guess. It's just, I don't get it. How could he give all that up? I mean, there was something between us, you know? Something rare, something precious. But no, he threw it all away for his fucking vanity. But in a way, it's just a continuation of what I've always known. Wherever I am, I'm a stranger. People don't like me, and I don't like them.
For what it's worth, I'm glad our paths crossed.
Yeah, me too, Corporal. Me too. I'd like some space now. I hope you don't mind. Let's talk later.
Alright, then now we've finally got her fucking special ability. Damn right. And this one is an intelligence, so we'll get her intelligence up. There we go. Right, that only took, 10 minutes. This is going to be a fucking long-ass part. These, long-ass couple of talks, ladies and gentlemen. We've got 3 more talks to do. And if they're each 10 minutes long, I mean, then we don't even have to do anything. That's pretty much all we're going to be doing this part. These 2 parts. We can upgrade you, so we'll just upgrade your earth smelting and intelligence. Oh, no, wait, cancel. Wait. Yeah, it's Constitution. Jesus fucking Christ. The shield actually is bigger than him. Oh, that's fucking hilarious, but it's not a problem. It's funny. If it's funny, ladies and gentlemen, it's allowed to happen. Oh, right, yeah, I need to come back out here. I need to go back again. Thank you, game. Ah, yes, the lovely long trip to Mullendeer. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm looking forward to these conversations, but I'm not looking forward to what comes next because, I mean, I have one life, and unless I get an RTS stage, I ain't going to be able to, we're going to be doing a lot of pause and continue, like, restarts just to try and get, or I'm going to have to actually think, and I mean, I don't like thinking, so preferably the fucking first one, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. So, ladies and gentlemen, so when we actually get out there, well, like I said, we'll talk to probably Undergast first, seeing as he's the furthest away. And then we'll talk to probably Aonir, then I think the last one is Gore. No, it's not Gore. Who the fuck is the last person? Is it Rohan? Or Rohan, whatever his name is. Bitch boy, I'm going to call him, because I can't actually remember his name. It is Rohan, yeah.
Got it.
To Undergast. That should take a while to get to. Me and my fucking hammer and sword. I do look like a badass though, I mean. Golden helmet, golden armor. I mean, just I look like a fucking badass. I mean, the foreign shield and I'd have looked even cooler. Actually, look, that shield does really look cool though. That hammer looks pretty badass as well. That does 13, whereas mine does 9. Yeah, mine are just rare. His are legendary. I got my legendary armor and helmet though, so epic armor, helmet, and ring.
Tahar, it is good to see that you have recovered. This place and these people lack guidance without you.
They did?
Yes. The Lord Marshal tried to assume control, but as you might have expected, he did not have everybody's support. I was even fearing an internal power struggle, and I'm glad it did not come to that. I must say, Tahar, your mother, she is remarkable. I have always wondered what the Shapers look like, and now I do. It is fascinating, though I suppose this is a difficult topic for you. Forgive me if my words were inappropriate.
It's all right.
Good. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about? Yes? What is it?
So, Undergast, when you told me about your split with Lena, I got the feeling that you were more than just colleagues.
You are asking if we were in love. Am I correct?
Well, yeah, I guess.
Then let me start by telling you that the term love is undefined and that theories about it conflict one another. I have read a lot of books on it, and I've studied the poems, and I've come to the conclusion that it is ultimately a primitive, carnal urge that people have come to romanticize for the emotions that come with it. I, myself, never felt it, and maybe that was because I saw the underlying mechanisms. I always found it strange how people overreact so strongly to such a simple emotion, and maybe that very fact stopped me from being able to feel these emotions at all.
Well, what are the underlying mechanisms?
The desire to reproduce with a fitting mate. In fact, the orcs have a very dry, rational view on this process, but for some reason humans, dwarves, and elves do not.
Love is more than just that.
Well, most people would agree with you, and I'm certain that in your subjective experience it is.
So, what you're saying is that you were never able to feel love, but then Lena came along and you did.
No, it was not that simple. What stood out in our relationship was that we connected. I've never felt that before. You see, Tahar, to me, the bonds people have always felt peculiar. And I am not like Yana. Her mind simply does not have the ability to feel these bonds anymore. She had them once, but then she lost them, as she became a dreamweaver. My brain is capable of feeling these things, but I am unable to connect with the outside world. I only have my own mind as a frame of reference. For example, when a person tells you yes, whereas he or she means no, you might be able to feel this discrepancy because you're able to empathize with her. I can't. To me, this person's distress would make no sense whatsoever. But then there was Lena. For some bizarre reason, she understood me and I understood her. Or at least, I thought that I did. It was as if this barrier, this shell that separates my mind from others, was pervious to her emotions. I know how strange it sounds, and I also have no explanation for why this was, yet it changed me. All at once, I felt connected. Do you know this feeling, Tahar? You have traveled with these people for quite some time now. Is there anyone you were, well, fond of?
Well, yes, there is.
I see. Then you probably know how distracting such a feeling can be. To be honest, when I first became aware of that bond between Lena and me, I was horrified. I could not focus anymore. And when I sat down to write my studies, I realized after hours that none of what I had written made sense at all.
Your inability to relate to others, is it innate?
Yes. If it were not, I might have considered my sudden connection to Lena as a symbol of overcoming. But it was not. Even though I felt connected to Lena, I was still unable to feel the same way towards others. This is what deeply confused me.
What did Lena make of all that?
Nothing. Unlike me, she did not try to analyze, to understand its origin. At the same time, she did not discourage me from pondering. I believe this is what made our relationship unique. Complete acceptance. She did not try to tell me how I should behave or feel, and neither did I. Even when she decided to leave the guild and I decided to stay behind, we both accepted each other's decisions.
Am I right to assume that your relationship ended with your disagreement over the Creators Guild abandoning its neutrality?
No, you misunderstand. We never had a relationship. Although the feelings were mutual and we, well, acted on them, we never felt the need to bind ourselves to some close-minded societal construct. But yes, you are correct. It was the disagreement that broke our bond. Quietly, she left and never returned again.
Do you feel, I don't know, betrayed?
Betrayed? No. By betrayal, people usually mean when someone behaves contrary to what they agreed on, or more often than not, as they would like that person to behave. I always found the word to be very misleading. Desires, wishes, and urges are natural things, and I always found the usage of such heavily judgmental words to be very childish. Lena did what she thought was right, and so did I. I have not and will never blame her for that.
What, so you didn't even argue? I have a hard time imagining that.
As I said, acceptance of one another's nature and decisions was a pivotal element in our interactions, though I did notice that my unwillingness to follow her on her mission caused her more emotional distress than she usually would have felt. You see, if there ever was a disharmony between us, it was when she tried to encourage me to embrace the world, as she put it. She told me that both I as a person and my studies would benefit from more first-hand experience.
Such as?
Well, anything. Traveling, studying the Tsarlanthep ruins first-handed, even visiting the city of Everlight every once in a while. She seemed to think that it could help me get a better understanding of the world. But again, she never tried to force me. I could tell that my unwillingness upset her, but like always, she showed acceptance.
And you have no idea where she and the others are?
I don't. I have heard rumors that they were helping mages in Leonider, but that was moons ago.
How do you feel about this?
That is a good question. I still think about her, almost every day. But the more time passes, the more this entire episode starts to feel like a vague, distant dream, the way an elder must feel about youth. I do not know how I would feel if I ever saw her again.
I can imagine. Well, thank you for trusting me with this, Undergast.
You have nothing to thank me for. If this conversation helped you get a better picture of me, I'm glad we had it. But there is one more thing I would like to ask you, Tahar.
Tell me.
Do you have regrets? Do you ever feel as if you could and should have acted differently than you did act?
Everybody has regrets.
That seems like a deliberately vague answer. It could indicate that you do have regrets, but it could also indicate that you do not have them. But I understand. If you do not want to share this with me, you do not have to. You see, I've never told you this, but I find your resilience to be remarkable.
How so?
Well, it is no secret that you have endured a lot of pain, especially your early childhood must have made a mark on your psyche. But still, you did not give up.
Well, I'm doing what I can.
I can see that. Either way, I think we have spent enough time talking. We should get back to the tasks at hand.
We should. So long, Undergast.
And Undergast has got his now new Nope, apparently Undergast still wants me to do more talking with him.
Understood.
Dick. Alright, well, guess. Actually, no. 1 minute. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, the next part will continue on, and I hope you guys enjoyed. See you guys next part. See you guys then.